Welcome everybody to our May 2022 Coaching Open Day. I'm Dr. Rebecca Jones and I'm Director of the Coaching Group and Associate Professor in Coaching, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the session. I will just get control of the slides and then I can just go through a few practical details before I hand over to our first speaker today. So our event today is going to run from up until 4:30 today. The first session is going to be running until 11 AM. We've designed the day so that you can drop in and out if you like. If you're only interested in one of our programs, you might only save for that session. If there are multiple programs you're interested in, you might decide to stay for multiple sessions. The whole day is being recorded and you'll be sent a link to the recording at the end after today's session. One of the most valuable parts of our open day we've found over the years is that our prospective students get to hear from some of our alumni. So we have got that as an essential part of all of our sessions today. So we'll be joined by some of our alumni across various points so that you can hear their experiences of the programme. If you have got a question, please do use the Q&A tool. The Q&A tool is really helpful in these types of webinars because you can upvote each other's questions. So it might be that someone asks a question that you were also thinking of. So you could just upvote that and it will move it up to the top of the list. And that means that also some of our team that are here supporting us in the background, they might be able to answer those questions through the Q&A function. And any that are a bit more tricky to answer, our faculty will be able to answer those live at the end of in their Q&A section. As I've mentioned, you'll get a recording of the day. You'll also receive a copy of the slides and other event materials. So don't worry, you don't need to make notes or write everything down. We will follow up with all the details so you can just sit back and listen throughout the day. And finally, we really value your feedback. It's something that is a core part of everything that we do at Henley. We do ask for lots of feedback because it's the only way we can really understand how everything that we do is landing with you. And so we can use that to improve our programs and sessions like this. So please do let us know what you found helpful and what you would have liked more of, and we can use that to develop these sessions for the future. So please connect with us. You'll find us on all of the usual social media platforms. We've got some hashtags running today. You can connect with the Henley Exec Ed account, which is our official account. You'll also find, I think, most, if not all of the tutors that you're going to hear from today on places like LinkedIn. So please do connect with us. We love to be connected with people who share a passion for coaching and an interest in coaching. And it's the best way of staying up to date with news. And that's where we share our insights and our research and any kind of updates on developments at Henley. So please do connect with us. We'd love to hear from you. Okay. So I've got a little video here to welcome you before I hand over to our first tutor. Okay, so that concludes the intro to the day. So it's my pleasure to hand over to my wonderful colleague, Karen Foy, who's the Programme Director for our Shorten accredited programmes. And she's going to be delivering this first session, which is all about the Henley Professional Certificate in Executive Coaching. So over to you, Karen.
Thanks, Rebecca, and good morning, everybody. It's so great to have you all here. And I just got that feeling when I saw the pictures of Henley of, oh, it's so great to be there. I'm actually in a very dull Yorkshire at the moment. And the real pull to Henley today is we've got George Clooney filming over the river. So we're all excited about that. But that's not what we're here for today. So one of the things, just before we get started, I thought it'd be really great to ask you what you really would like to get out of today. And think about, sorry, I just need to move my slide on, and think about what you're hoping to get out of a coaching program. So I'm sure you've been doing your research, but we'd just like to have, just a few thoughts from people. And so we've got this technology that we can use. If people have used it before, you're probably more up to speed with it than me. But if you've got a mobile phone, if you wanted to just open your camera and use the QR code, it will give you underneath a little yellow tag that you can get straight to Slido, which will bring you to this question. Oh, fantastic. There are people at it already. And then if you can't use a mobile phone, you can use the slido.com there and just use the number to get in, and just tell us a little bit about why, what you're hoping to get. Lovely. So thinking about new careers and just about the content, finding better ways to help people develop. Lovely. Oh, there's some great stuff on there. Yeah. Better leadership. Lovely. Yeah. So I can see there's lots of people who are thinking about having this career change. And then there are other people on there who are saying things about already working in coaching, which is great. Yeah. Oh, I hope we can manage to capture all of these and keep them, because it's great, a great insight. Yeah. So wanting to know what's different about Henley, that's a really great question. Lovely. Fabulous. Thank you. So I guess really just thinking about that and thinking about this program, and this really is our foundational program in coaching. For some people who come, just as it said on that Slido there, it's a springboard to a new career and to find out about coaching. And we saw from one of our wonderful graduates from this program saying that it was, well, my words, but life-changing, that she put so much in it that it took over her life. And I think that's one of the things that any coaching program can bring to you, that what you put into it, sometimes it can be life-changing. But it may also be something that you're already doing and you just want to think about professionalising your coaching and getting the qualification and really the grounding for what you're already doing, and I'm sure doing very well. And that's what's different at Henley. We're one of the few programmes that are actually triple accredited. So we're accredited with ICF, the International Coach Federation, the Association for Coaching, and the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. So we're very proud of that triple accreditation. What we've also got in our, what is different, and I guess we would say it's different, is an amazing tutor team. This is just a few of them. There are so many more, but these are a few of our tutor team who work with across the programmes. And what you'll see, and when you get to know the tutors on the programme, is we've got a range of people who are accredited with those professional bodies. So we've got a range of people. There are very few master coaches across the world, really, but we've got quite a lot of them here at Henley. So master certified coaches, professional certified coaches. We've got from EMCC, we've got master practitioners working with us. We've also got people who are on the boards, on the Association for Coaching. We've got a global leader from ICF who tutors on the programme. So we're really connected to the coaching professional bodies to keep us really at the forefront of coaching. So lots of great tutors. What we've also got that we couldn't even fit everybody's pictures on here is I'll tell you about, in our programme, we also offer coach mentoring to make sure people actually can consolidate their skills in coaching. And we've got a full mentoring team, again, with people who are assessors with some of these coaching bodies, who are master coaches, who will help you become the best coach you can be. So it's grounded in lots of great tutors. And all of those tutors, we're really committed to providing this brave space for people to understand who they are as a coach and to become reflective practitioners, and really helping to facilitate change in others. And we often say in coaching about creating a safe space, so people have the ability to be who they want to be. The people that we're working with can really open up to us. But we changed our thinking about this and made it into a brave space. And that's really important for us in the tutor room when we're working and thinking and practicing coaching. We often say, use this space to be brave, to even fail spectacularly, because that's where we'll really learn. So we want to create a really special place. And one of the things that we hear that's different at Henley, every group that goes through talks about the wonderful learning community they've got. It's not just being either in great surroundings, because sometimes we do it online as well. But every group I've heard from talks about how much they've learned from each other. What's really great is we attract such a great group of students working with us on this. They've been leaders themselves. They have, they've had great careers. All sorts of people come along, and all the students learn from each other as much as they learn from the tutors in the room. And we, as tutors, learn from everybody that comes into the room. So it's really important for us to create this really brave space where people can become who they need to be and who they are as coaches. One thing we don't want to do is get almost a rubber stamp to put on your head to say, oh, you are this sort of coach. In that bravery and that courage, what we want to do is help you be the best coach you can be, which will be different. Every single one, it will be a new, unique coach. And that's what we encourage. And we do that through this developing a reflective practice. Let me just give you a brief overview of the programme, and then I'll give you a little bit more detail. And we will get to the part that's really interesting for you. That's to listen to the people who've actually been students on the programme. So a very brief overview is we have 3 workshops that are in either in person or live online. And those 3 workshops, the first one is 2 days. The second one is for 3 days. And the third one again is 2 days. This is the start of the taught element of the programme. The very first workshop is really about who you are and really understanding what you bring to coaching. And that's what I mean about bringing out of you the unique you that will make a great coach. And, we often talk about who you are is how you coach. We will all have those lovely, unique qualities. And we want you to actually tap into that. But the bravery comes in as well, because we're asking you to really look at yourself and really reflect on yourself. And that can be challenging. We really, the tutors in the room will help you to think about, what does that mean for me? How am I triggered in this way? So it really is a life-changing programme to be able to look at yourself, really understand who you are. And then in workshop 2, which is 3 days long, so it's, we have to buckle in and know that we've got 3 days of fabulous learning. And this is where I think some coaching programs, people expect to start with tools and techniques. We do it a different way around. We get to know ourselves first as coaches, and then we look at what would enhance our coaching. And although all of our programs are insight-led, they're built on research, so you'll see a lot about the different approaches that we're using. We'll give you information about where that comes from in the research and in the thinking around coaching. But what we also will be saying to you is to be thinking about the tools and techniques are only enhancing who you are. Bit like thinking about Carl Jung, about learn your tools and techniques well. And then when you sit opposite another human soul, be just another human soul. So we don't want tools and techniques to take over, but we do base our programs from a psychological perspective. So in this section of the program, you'll learn about the psychological approaches, about behavior change, what helps people change their behavior, what could we do as coaches to really help them make the changes they want to make in their lives. So it's grounded in what we call a psychological wheel. We'll talk to you about the different approaches. You'll get to try them on, see which fits, which ones make you think, oh, I never want to do that one, and which one, oh, yes, this feels like me. Because again, it's around helping you make the choices about being the best coach you can be. And workshop 3 is about bringing it all together and integrating. And we're really looking at working with the core coaching competencies. So the core skills to be a coach. And in this workshop, we'll bring together who you are, the psychological tools that you may or may not use, but also ground that in. And what does that mean for being the most effective coach? So we'll bring it all together. We'll observe coaching. We'll help you to explore the things that you are doing really well, and the things that your areas of thinking about developing a little bit more. And we do that to take you to this orange box at the end, which is our continued learning after the workshops. And this is where we offer mentor coaching and supervision and reflective practice on you as a coach. So you'll get group and one-to-one personal mentoring from one of those coach mentors that I mentioned to you. And that will be specifically around the ICF core coaching competencies, so that when you finish this program, you've got everything you need, other than just building up your hours, because you need 100 hours to get your first credential with ICF. You'll have everything you need to get that first credential. So the course structure, as I said, it is part-time and it's over 9 months. So it's 7 days of workshops, as I've mentioned, and that would either be in person or online to suit you. And it's some people choose that online fits in better. Some people want to be at our beautiful campus, and both are, it's the same program, and both are get the same kind of feedback all of the time. Then you've got that 6 month of virtual support. That's always been online, the virtual support about the group mentoring. So it's you'll have mentoring hours in a group, and then you'll get one-to-one sessions, mentoring and supervision sessions. So mentoring and supervision slightly different. The mentoring is talking about the core coaching competencies, and really it's the more technical skills of coaching. The supervision is really where you're reflecting on your practice. We've got, and you'll hear about this a little bit later on, but we've got content online. We've got videos, a whole host of videos where all of our tutor team are all involved in giving you more information about the content that's being delivered in the program. There's demonstrations of coaching. There's all sorts of things that you can access and use for asynchronous learning, as well as what you're learning in the coaching space. So this is just in a little bit more detail. we do ask you before you start, you'll get access to our on our coaching platform, our learning platform, should I say, and you'll get some reading, you'll get some core textbooks that you can dig into. We've got one that just really mirrors the program altogether. We've got another one which is a lot of coaches, coach practitioners who are talking about different elements of coaching. So you get access to those, they're yours. You can use those as your base for your coaching research and your reading. We'll ask you to do some reflections on yourself before that first workshop, and just so that you can start to think about this question of who am I as a coach. You'll do a couple of questionnaires and then bring that to that first session. And I've mentioned about what is workshop 1, about building up and thinking about your personal style. And then between workshop 1 and 2, we'll ask you to do some reading, some reflection. We'll ask you to practice some coaching and to reflect on that. And you'll start to think about the assignment that we're doing at the end, and we'll give you practice to help you build into that. I've mentioned that workshop 2 is all around psychological models, coaching approaches, and tools and techniques. And we'll also be building on the tools and techniques that you already use, whether you're a coach or not. You'll already be using some tools, doing some coaching. So we want to draw on your experience, your knowledge. We know that you're not coming as an undergraduate to this. You will be coming to this with lots of experience. So we want to draw on that in the room. And again, between 2 and 3, you'll have this a little bit more reading, asking you to dig around, have a look, do some research, look at some papers, which you've got access to through our fabulous library. And so you can look at the journals, you could look at even the research from our our faculty team. So there's a lot of reading in there, things like Rebecca's work on the effectiveness of coaching. There's all sorts of things that you'll be looking at. Bit more coaching practice, because what we ask really by the end of this program is that you've done 20 hours of coaching. So that will be, you can do more, but we ask you to, before you finish, have done 20 hours. You'll see a difference. If you're only just starting coaching, you'll see a difference in your coaching when it gets to 10 hours. And then even more when it gets to 20 hours. So you'll really be on the road of being a professional coach by the time you've done those 20 hours. So in this final workshop, we bring another model in that's kind of an integrated model. But we're really keen to think about coaching ethics. And you'll see that as a theme, a thread that works all the way through this program. We want you to be ethical, professional coaches and flexible. So we will talk about ethics, and we'll provide reflective practice supervision throughout the programme. So there'll be times when we're doing group supervision within this programme all the way through. But a big feature of workshop 3, and I sometimes hesitate to say this because I know how it can sound a bit scary, but we do a lot of observation of your coaching. We do it throughout, and we do it a little bit more in depth in workshop 3. None of it is about an assessment. And the people who've gone through the programme, and perhaps you can ask the lovely students that we've got on their experience of this when you ask questions. But it can feel scary when you start. And everybody that I've spoken to said just how helpful it's been to really hone their skills as a coach. And then I've mentioned that we've got this online virtual supported study. So the group coach mentoring, that would be in a small group of up to 10 people. But then what's really key is this personal one-to-one mentor coaching. And your mentor coach will be asking you to do a short recording of you coaching, and then together you'll be able to explore what went really well in that, what you could do differently. It's something that is the best learning that you can have as a coach. I've just gone through mine to get my Master Certified Coach qualification. And it, you know, after 20 years of coaching, it still taught me such a lot. So that it's so valuable that. So you get that and your supervision, but again, you'll be practicing, you'll be honing your skills. You still have access to our online content that you'll hear about, and the coaching centre that Daniel's going to talk to you about later, and the library. And you've got access to all of that throughout this programme. And at the end, there's an assessment. And in that assessment, we ask you to do two things. We ask you to do a reflective piece of writing, to reflect on who you are as a coach. So it may be that we ask you to think about what have been the key learning points for you. What have you learned about yourself as a coach, and how has that impacted your coaching? And we ask you to do 2,000 words on that. And we give you lots of support to make sure that you understand about reflective writing, how that works, what that looks like. So there's that one piece. And the second piece is a 30-minute recording of you coaching. And this is why that personal one-to-one mentor coaching is so valuable to you. Because this is probably one of the only exams I've been through where you actually get somebody who looks at your recording. So you'll have 3 goes at that. You'll have 3 times to put a recording in to your mentor and say, is this the one? Do you think this is the one that's going to help me pass this assessment? And your mentor will give you honest feedback. They can't say, yes, it'll definitely pass, or no, it won't, because they won't mark it, but they've got a very good idea. So that gives you the opportunity to make that recording the best it can be. And we've had some amazing recordings coming through because they've had that mentoring. So that's what the programme looks like. There's some practical details on that. So you can see, and you'll have access to this later on anyway, but you can see the fees and you can see when we've got dates. But I think what's the most important thing here is listening to our 2 students who have been through this, successfully gone through this, and we'll just hear what they've got to say, and then we can pick up some questions and and hear from you. So Nosh and Faith are going to have just going to tell you what it was like, and hopefully warts and all, they're going to tell you everything.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm not able to see myself, so I feel like I'm just speaking to a screen at the moment. There I am. So welcome, everyone. My name is Faith Ruto. I am an executive coach. I can call myself an executive coach after the Henley program, but I have been coaching now professionally for 8 years. I have a background in IT. I worked for Shell for 12 years before I took a leap of faith to becoming a coach. And for me, coaching has been my calling. So it happened because I experienced coaching when I was in work. I had professional coaches, but also I just love the idea that you can make a difference to people's life through just, creating a safe space. So my decision to embark on a course at Henley came about because, I've been practicing for 8 years. I've done lots of different courses in career coaching, life coaching, but I was looking for a accredited program. And I was really inspired by the 3 accreditation that you get from Henley, because as we all know, we're living in a global setting now. We work in a global environment, and I wanted a course that was recognized globally. I work with global clients. And so that was my kind of the first interest that made me want to come to Henley. But also I love that I could do the program online. As we all know, we've been through the pandemic. So I did not want to put off, doing my studies until we could do face-to-face, which would have been my preferred option at the time. But actually I decided, I'm going to do this program online. I would say that based on the question that you were asked about what you hope to get out of the coaching at Henley, I would say everything that you all typed you would get out of this program. On my cohorts, we had about, I'm trying to think how many, we had about 20. They all came from different backgrounds. There are people that were professional coaches now, there are people that wanted to change career. And to be honest, the program, the way it's structured is that it's really the fundamental of coaching. So if you're looking for like a quick certification, this is not the program for you. But if you're looking for a program that is going to help you understand yourself better, a program that's going to, to challenge your perception of what is executive coaching, if you're looking for a program that is, flexible, that has excellent tutors, and, the courses are really high quality as well, then this is the one for you. I think for me, what I gained out of this program was doing the virtual, and I think it's the same content. So whether you go for virtual or in person, I don't think that's going to make a massive difference. I hope not. But the intense workshop where you're online or you're in person for 3 days, it's really massive experience. You're given pre-work, so you need to know your personality type, your values, your characters, and it helps you to reflect on who you are, who you are becoming as a coach, or who you've been showing up as, right? And from that, you can then, learn the tools, and there's a lot of tools. So, there's not like one tool fit all, it depends on where you want to go with your coaching, but there's a lot of content. And I think for me, that was one of my, the thing I loved about the program was that it wasn't just one tool. I could choose one that I felt, worked with me and my client and my personality. So the tools are great. Then you have like the 3 months, then you have 6 months where it's a bit, for me, it felt a bit remote, because obviously it's, you're meeting with your mentors and your supervisors, and you start working on your project. And I think the quality of being able to reflect on what you've learned or where you are in your coaching journey, it's really important to have that break. And I think for me, that's what sets, the Endly program apart. It's not that you're just coming in, doing all the work really quickly and then getting a certification. You actually have space to reflect. And I think that's really important. What else can I tell you? I felt that it was a very balanced program. I'm a very busy mom of 2. And I felt that actually with my day job, I could do the program and it wasn't too intensive, except that I love to do everything last minute. So I did struggle for, when it was time, to hand in my assignment and do those last minute things, because it was, I kind of thought, yeah, I've got time. So that's one of the lesson I will tell you is, if you are planning to do this, and I hope you will, sign up to do this, manage your time. Don't assume that you have a lot of time, because as we know with life, you might have social things or business, and it might get in the way. So plan your time really well. But the team at Endly are very helpful. Somebody asked a question, if you cannot make a session, what can you do? You will be found a space, with another cohort. It's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I think come and commit to this fully, really commit to it. Give it your all, and you're going to get so much out of it. I would say that the biggest takeaway for me is actually been about learning about myself, and having that safe space, or the brave space that Karen talked about, to really experiment, but also to allow others to observe me as a coach. Like I mentioned, I've been coaching professionally myself, but no one's, sit next to me and observe my coaching. So to have, your small group or the tutor honestly, genuinely observe you and give you really helpful feedback, I think that is so valuable, and you're not going to get it in many coaching schools, I think. So Endly is really special. What else? There is a community of coaches you can join. You can do networking. You could even, I think, start to practice, your coaching if you're new to coaching. I don't really have anything else. I've got a lot to say, but I think I want to leave it to Q&A. I want you to ask me questions. If you have any concerns, ask me. I did say that I was going to come here and share honest, my honest feedback. What can I tell you about my people that were on my program? They all enjoyed it. They all completed. We all pass. So don't worry if you haven't been studying for a long time and you're scared about the assignment. You're going to get so much information, so much help on how to submit your assignment and the references. And so don't be put off. Don't be scared like, oh, I haven't studied for many years. Yes, you're going back into a university environment, but there is a full understanding that we're all very busy working professionals. So that's all I have to say, but do ask me any questions. I think my 5 minutes is up, and do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to always, be of help. I think that's it for me, Karen.
Thank you, Faith. That's amazing. Thanks so much. Yeah. And Nash.
Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me, Karen. Excellent. So
Yes.
look, thank you. It was really great to hear. It's unbelievable that 1 year has already passed by. And like most of you out there, actually, I was on an open day in May last year. So I can just have some memories from that day I was there. So for me, it's been an unbelievable and transformational journey of where I am today. And just to introduce myself, I am basically self-employed. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got a business in the fields of executive search, management consulting, and corporate training. Prior to the program, I had done some coaching, but not a lot. So I was very, very keen to find a course that's really going to help me, give me that the knowledge that I need. So I did a lot of research. I did my MBA from Ashridge Business School. So obviously that was an easier choice for me to go back to that lovely campus. But I actually wanted to also try out other business schools. So I did a lot of research. And the reason why I chose Henley was because of the triple accreditation, as Karen mentioned. I think quality for me was very, very important. The other thing I did was that I attended the open day like all of you are, but then I also did a follow-up connect with the program director as well. And what I found was, that personal touch. And for me, that personal touch was very, very important. And I had a long list of questions, like I'm sure you must have as well. And all of those questions were answered. I remember we couldn't, all my questions couldn't be answered in the first Zoom meeting. And the program director, right after Christmas, I think we connected again. And, they were prepared to answer all my questions. So that really gave me a good feeling about the school. I also was lucky to be able to visit the campus, and obviously it's a stunning campus. So for me, the environment was important. And unlike faith, so I love, in-person interaction. So I did not go for the, online program. And I was actually, I think we were the first cohort right after the pandemic restrictions eased out, and we started our program in June. And again, I was very, very happy with that decision because I think we bonded really, really well as a peer group. And even to this date now, we're able to connect online wherever we are in the world. So that's really been great. So what made this experience so special for me? What were the big things that came out for me? Like faith, for me, the biggest thing I got out of this program was self-awareness. So literally now I have a new lens that I'm looking at myself, my relationships with people, the work I do in the business world, even my two sons. I'm able to have very different class of conversations. And that really is reassuring. And actually that's given me a lot of confidence, right? It's helped me open new doors. I was, as I mentioned, doing some coaching before the program, but now I've been able to win C-level clients as a result of the program. It's given me more confidence. Specifically, if I talk about, I think Karen mentioned already, we coach the way we are. So that self-awareness element is so, so important. And actually, the other thing that had really benefited me was the tutor feedback I got. Again, fabulous tutors I had. We were lucky we had Karen and Sarah. And really, the feedback that they gave me, some of the things that they validated me about my coaching, like one thing they mentioned was the humanistic approach. And so, that just added to my confidence. So coming out of the program, I was able to, be able to have different class of conversations with prospects and clients. And so, it's been a fabulous journey. The other things I did was I had such a fabulous experience. I said, I don't want this relationship to end. So I put my hand up, to continue my relationship with Henley, and, humbled that I was on the International Alumni Board for Henley. So I am very, very happy to spread the message across because of the experience that I've had in those 9 months. And some of the pairs, we are still connected. We used to set up a monthly call because Karen mentioned the last part of the program is virtual. So, we actually made sure that we were able to connect, for every month we were able to connect with the pair. So all in all, I think fabulous experience, and I will do it again if I got the choice.
Fabulous. Thanks, Nash. That's great. Thank you, both of you. And I know there'll be questions for you. I just wondered if I could just, whilst you're getting yourselves together, ready to answer questions, I might pick up a few that I've noticed as I've had a chance to look at them. And I'll just pick those up. So one of the ones I picked up was somebody was saying, if I've already got psychological experience, so it might be about psychometrics, you may be well versed in those. I think it's a really great question because it sets up, for me, what we need to be really clear about. This is our foundational program. And so you may come with lots of information about different psychometrics. We get lots of people who are psychologists that come onto the program. And what we want to do is just manage your expectations in that we touch on briefly things like psychometrics and the research that comes in, but we put it into and how does this impact on me as a coach practitioner? How does that help me become a better coach? So we won't be teaching psychometrics. So you may have lots of information that you can support other people in the group with. We will touch the surface, but if you decide to move on, because this is the first stage for some people for the MSc in coaching that you'll hear from Holly later on, you will go into a lot more depth on a lot of the psychological approaches that we bring. So you are welcomed if you've got that experience, and you'll be able to share that. And just expect that you might even have to manage, I know a lot more than this. And we kind of role model where we don't go that deep in this particular session. The other question that I picked up was around marketing and about this issue about finding clients. Coaching clients. So I've got two kind of responses to that. One is we've got, again, from a person who was a graduate from this program, set up a wonderful entrepreneurial exercise, which is called Growing Coaches. And he set up so that whilst you're in practice at Henley, you can register and find coaches that he offers to voluntary organisations, so leaders in voluntary organisations and places like that, so you can get some practice whilst you're coaching. You can stay on that platform as well, obviously, after you've finished. But one of the other things is, and we've got one just marketing now, we have a boot camp. So we've had a boot camp about actually growing your coaching business, which is free to all the people that are on the program. So that's in July. So people can come on to that, hear from specialists who will help them think about their business and growing their business. We've also on Henley Live, and the coaching centre, Daniel will talk about in a little while, there are resources on there as well to help you think about how to launch this. But we often encourage people to share their networks, to talk about how you're going to build that up. Books before starting. So I like that somebody's already thinking about, so I'm going to start, so what's the books that I could read? Well, we could give you loads and loads of ideas, but I'm just thinking if you're new to coaching, maybe Coaching for Performance with Sir John Whitmore will give you an introduction. And if you've been in coaching a little bit longer, or even as a starter, you might want to look at Simplifying Coaching with Claire Pedrick. And just interestingly, in our coaching centre, Claire is going to be one of our speakers. I think it's in November. She's talking to us about her approach to coaching. She's another Master Certified Coach with ICF. Someone's asked, is it recognised by the BPS, the new chartered element of BPS, the British Psychological Society for Coaching Psychologists? Will it be recognised? I'm suspecting it might be, because our past programme director, Jonathan Passmore, is the chair of that particular group. But also, I think there may be something around getting onto the MSc, and Holly may have more to say about that, that if you've done the MSc, it will ground you even more for that, for membership of there. Those are the ones I picked up now, but I think probably it's alumni. I mean, we will answer all of the questions, but I think it's more about the alumni and questions for them. So I don't know, is somebody going to manage that?
Yes, hi Karen.
Thank you.
We thank you very much for your intro and for answering some of those questions, Karen. We've had quite a few coming in for both Karen and for Nosh and Faith. So I will start to field some of those questions to you, Faith, and to Nosh as well. Faith, starting with you, somebody's asked, what would you ask Henley to change about the programme? And if you had your time again, what might you do differently?
Thank you for the question. I think I've replied already. I think that because I'm an experienced, coach already, I have my business I think what would have been really helpful, which I think you have done, by creating the bootcamp, offering the bootcamp. I think for me, that answered that question, which is, it's great to have the competency, the skills, the knowledge by myself, but how do I then translate that into business? So for people that are new to coaching, they might be looking for, sales and marketing, strategies, or how to do it in a safe environment before they go and launch it out. So I think, having the bootcamp is great. And I think making it a part of the program. So it's almost like, it's not an option, you should attend it, because I think it's so valuable. When I did attend it as an experienced coach, that's something I would say, add to the program or make it a part of the program, so that people live with the skills, competency, but also with the know-how to becoming, their own coaches. Yeah. They're running their own businesses. And then what would I change? Do things on time. I think for me, I'm a very social person. So I think the networking, being virtual, if you're going to do it virtually, definitely encourage your cohorts to to meet on a monthly basis. It's so important, because I think we're walking away with so much knowledge about each other. And I think it's a shared experience, and it's such a loss if you don't keep in contact with each other. So my advice to everybody is really, take this time for you. It's a gift to yourself, and don't feel like, you have to be competing, really immerse yourself in it. You'll get a lot out of it if you do that, than if you think, oh, it's just another study. This is very different. It's a very special study.
Thank you, Faith. That's really interesting. And I wonder, Nosh, if you have any reflections, having finished, about what you might change.
I guess the only thing I would say is, as I've alluded to, the first 3 workshops, amazing, because, you're able to meet, work with the peers face to face. We just loved it. And with the tutors, I suppose the last 6 months where you kind of virtual. So for our part, we were very proactive groups. We really didn't make so much of a difference. As I mentioned, we set up monthly Zoom meetings because we had liked each other's company so much, and we wanted to do peer coaching. So we found a way. But I think if I would change one thing, maybe those last 6 months, if there was some planned activities from the school that got us together, I think that could be one thing, perhaps.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Nosh. Thank you, Faith. And I know that when in the next session that will be hosted by Daniel Wallace, the manager of our coaching centre, he will talk about some of those opportunities. There will be many more now because we're coming out of lockdown, but we do run regular networking events and masterclasses. But I don't think, Nosh and Faith, you've had the opportunity to take advantage of those yet, with the circumstances we've been living in. Faith, back to you for the next question. How did you manage to plan and effectively approach the requirement to complete 20 hours of coaching practice amongst all of your other commitments? And who did you coach?
Oh, wonderful question. I'm very busy, so that was not a problem, unfortunately, for me. But if you're new to coaching, just put the word out there, use your connection, tell them that you're doing this wonderful course and they're going to get a free coaching before your price goes up. Everyone needs a coach. So I think that's not going to be a problem. But I think for me, it was not a challenge because I already had clients. So I just had to record the hours. I think the program is so well structured that I found that it helped me to plan ahead. So, there was already booking for supervising and mentoring. So that really, it helped me to plan my coaching or my content around that. So, yeah. So I think it wasn't a problem. I think for me, it was just, we're in the middle of COVID, people, things were coming out of COVID, so, and having children, it's just, things will change. When you start the program, you could have the best intention and plan, but you just have to be agile and know that, like your life might be very different when you've complete this. I think for me, it was just have the determination that this is what you want to do. If you missed, maybe a session in the last 6 months, there is flexibility. So I was, for example, moved, into like a different mentoring group. Which is, again, I think that's actually one of the benefit of the program is that it's not so rigid that you're going to fail if if something changes, if your life changes. I think that's that flexibility.
Perfect. Thank you, Faith. Nosh, you may have something to add there, but there's also a specific question for you around who you're coaching. You've mentioned that the program's helped you with win C-suite level clients. So could you perhaps also share a little bit about how you have engaged with those clients initially?
We're happy to share that. So look, what helped me was, and for some of you on this call who perhaps want to add coaching to their armory, that's what I did, right? I'm already in the business of training and executive search, so I already have a good network. Although Henley now has further, enhanced my global network. But what I was able to do is really use this Henley qualification as a great way to up my brand and then obviously cross-sell. So those cross-selling opportunities are because the clients already knew me as a trainer, and now they're seeing me as an executive coach and from a very recognized institute. And that's brilliant. And I mean, I'll just tell you something very recent. So I was in Dubai last week, right? And we're setting up an office there. And I was in conversations with some of the Henley's competitors. And I mentioned I've done my program from Henley. And there was a lot of respect that I heard. And so if a competitor is giving respect, and I felt so good, I was like glad I did my program from Henley. That was really like, wow, my investment has paid me 10 times already. So, so for me, I think to answer the question is cross-selling. But one other thing I want to mention, if it helps participants here, is it's all about that mindset that you bring into the program. Because it's funny, you'll be able to make you'll get a lot more out of this program if you bring that mindset of what do you want to get out of this program. And I know Henley does ask this question as well before you start. You have to do the pre-work and you have to list down, okay, what are the learning objectives, but what do you more broadly want to get out of this program? So one tip would be to give it deep thought. Is it just about the certificate? Is it about building, deeper relationships? For me, I was able to, the same people I'd met before the program, after the coaching, they're like, oh, you're a different person. Firstly, you're talking less, you're asking better questions. So it's just kind of few things like that. So I think the quality of the relationships and trust has definitely strengthened as a result. So sorry for a long answer, but I hope it helps.
Yeah. And Rebecca, could I add to what Michelle I've also said? The brand, Henley brand is really strong. In the middle of the program, I was approached to be associate, for a global, organization. And I mentioned I was doing, my program at Henley, and straight away I was, almost like offered the job. Obviously I had to go through the process, but I can say that without having done the program at Henley, I would not get the job that I'm doing now, which is bringing me a lot of clients. So I think there is obviously concern about the investment as well, your time, but I would say that just go for it and ask questions. If you're not sure, ask questions. They're there to help you make the decision. Yeah.
Thank you, Faith. That's wonderful. If anyone has any more questions for Faith or Nosh specifically, please feel free to add those to the Q&A. And whilst we wait for those to come in, Karen, I have another couple of questions that are appropriate for you, if you don't mind. We've had a question about, what our graduates go on to do after the programme. So I wondered if you might be able to share any further insights beyond, hearing from Faith and from Nosh as to what people tend to go on to after the PCEC.
Yeah, I noticed that question. I think it's a really interesting one, and it's one that's I've been thinking a lot about gathering the information, because I tend to get to know either through LinkedIn, because we connect through that, or just because we've got this very, as Nash said, very personal approach. And so people will message me and say, oh, I'm doing this, that, and the other. But I think at the moment we don't track particularly what everybody's doing. But for example, we've got one guy who was on the programme, and he decided, him and his partner decided they were just going to up sticks, and he could coach from anywhere in the world. So I think he was in South America for quite a lot over the winter, certainly. So going off and still coaching. It depends, and it links back to what Nash was saying about what people came in to do, because to link one of the other questions was, what about if you're an internal coach or somebody that works in an organisation? So we get a lot of people who want to be qualified as a coach, but they continue working in their organisations, and they bring a coaching culture. Some tend to go off, but this is all anecdotal rather than these are the actual stats. But some people will do, as Nash said, they add it on as an extra element to their portfolio. So there may already be consultants and then they add coaching on. Some people do that jump, and I remember doing that jump and how scary it is many years ago when you jump out of that job and set up your own business. So there's a wide range of things, but I think the thing about this is it comes back to the program being set up in a way that you learn about yourself. And as we've already heard, it can be quite transformational, and people change what they decided to do at the beginning because they learned something more. They all go off and do something differently that they perhaps never thought of. And like I say, I have no stats to back that up. It's just all anecdotal. It's what people tell me they've been doing. But I think it's a really interesting question. And for next year, what I'm going to certainly be doing is finding a way to make sure we've got some stats that say so many % of our students go on and do this, so many % do that, because I think it's a great question.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you very much, Karen. That's a great idea. I've got another question that I think it leads on from something you answered earlier, but we were talking about somebody who's already got quite a bit of coaching experience and knowledge of psychometrics, etc. So there's a question about would an MSc in coaching therefore be more appropriate to somebody who's already got that experience already?
Well, again, it would be a personal choice about whether an MSc would be the best place to go in. But my thoughts on that are, well, one, a very practical thought on if you're doing the MSc with us at Henley, obviously there are other places, but if you were doing it with us at Henley, then you'd need to go through the PCEC first. So you'd need to do that. But my honest answer, and I say this having come to Henley when I'd already been coaching, I don't know, about 16 or 17 years, and sitting through the programme, and I've got 2 degrees in psychology, I still learned from being on that programme. And that's the experience that we hear from people. Like I say, we get a lot of clinical psychologists. Faith's already said she'd already been working for 8 years with this. And still we learn from that programme because of the approach we take to it, learning about ourselves and what we bring to coaching. Yes, we bring the psychology in, but even deeper, we bring in yourself and your own motivations. So my honest answer is, I think it's still worth going through the PCEC, even if you're going to go somewhere else and do an MSc. But of course, I'm biased, and I think, I did an MSc in coaching psychology, and I look at our MSc, and I did it elsewhere, and I look at our programme and think, I'd love to go through that again now, because there's so much more in it than there was in my MSc. So it's horses for courses. You will, if you're very experienced as a psychologist, there'll be times when you think, yeah, I know this, but actually you might just hear a different approach, because what we're doing is adapting that to, and what does this mean in the coaching space? So it's still worth doing.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And Rebecca, maybe I just thought of something to add. On our program, we had also people that were really experienced, and they were able to share their experience with people that were just starting their journey. So yes, you might think, well, I'm not really, getting my money worth, but actually the ability to be able to share your experience with others and offer that, I think as a coach, is a blessing, because, you have had all sorts of experience, from different walk of life. So yeah, I mean, that's why I was so happy to come, when invited, because I just feel so excited that you're all considering this, and it will be life-changing once you've done it. Yeah.
Thanks, Faith. Thank you so much. I'm just conscious we're coming to the end of our time. It's gone really quickly. If there are any questions that we haven't answered, we'll get back to you separately after the session. I'll just hand back to Karen now for closing remarks, and say a very big thank you to Nosh and Faith for sharing their experience with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Nosh and Faith. I always think it just so brings it to life what this is like when we get to hear from you. I'm really looking and drawn to. I think it was James who put in the chat box about the insights on the internal, external, and my question is age dependent too. I'd love to know what that means. if you want to put something in the chat and I'll answer back. But if you're thinking, I don't know, is it too young, too old? You're never too old, and you're certainly not too young. It will be great to have you on board. Thank you, everybody, for your engagement and your commitment to even coming and hearing about this. And I hope I get to meet you firsthand. But thank you for your time today.